your own duct tape dress form like this one? Well, here's what you should and should absolutely not do under any circumstances when building your own dress form. Hello my celestial friends, I'm Echo, the Saving Sorceress, and today I thought I'd share some tips on how to make a duct tape dress form just like this one, with materials you already have around your house. I thought I'd share some pros and cons, and help you decide whether you want to attempt to make one for yourself. First, let's travel back in time, so I can show you a bit about how I made this replica of myself in the first place. It's my duct tape dress form, ta-da! I just love having a custom-made dress form, one that will actually fit my body. It hasn't been stuffed yet, so you can get a peek inside. We did run out of actual regular duct tape for a while and had to use some of the decorative stuff, but you know, you use what you've got. I can't wait to make some stuff with this baby. My twin. This dress form is made of duct tape, of course, and plastic wrap, old pillow stuffing, and some old clothes. Mannequins like these are a pretty familiar sight around sewing spaces, so here are some duct tape dress form do's and don'ts. And definitely pay attention to the don'ts. I learned that the hard way. I made a lot of mistakes. Do. Add duct tape in straight lines down the body, all in one direction. You can see it best in Bloopers video, which I linked right up here, and I'll put it in the description below. It shows the perfect technique to actually add the duct tape lines, so definitely watch that video after you see this one. Don't leave gaps when you're going horizontally. For the most part, you'll want to go vertically, but you may need to fill in some places horizontally. But do not put your duct tape like this and then add another piece on top to fill in. That will cause really weird bulges in the final product, and you don't need that in your life. You definitely don't want a gap, even a little bit, because fixing that problem is going to be a really big mess. When you do your horizontal laying, there will be gaps because your body has curves, as all bodies do. But you can fill those in with more vertical tape for a nice smooth finish. It ends up being a much better result, trust me. Do make your own stand, if you want to, of course. A lot of people use rolling medical stands, and those are a really awesome option. But they can be kind of expensive, and for me, a lot of this was budget. I wanted to save a lot of money when making this project, so I went for a wooden stand, as you can see right here. I just got a tabletop and a dowel from my local hardware store. Just screw them together and we have a stand. And I added a little bit of a coat hanger at the top actually to help hold the structure on. And it worked out really well. This cost me all of like, I think $10 for the stand itself. And the materials for the dress form, since I mostly found them around my house, it was pretty cheap. Pretty much the cost of the duct tape. You could also maybe try a strong coat rack or something like that. I think that could hold its shape pretty well. It could end up being a winner for you. Don't expect perfection. I'm a raging perfectionist, so that was really hard for me to learn. You will end up with strange bulges under dress form that will make you go, is that a part of my body, or did I make a mistake? And honestly, you'll never really find that answer. Or you'll discover new things about your body that you didn't realize. That was fun. But, you know, it's the sacrifices you have to make to get a dress form that accurately portrays you. Do get creative with the stuffing that you use. The internet will tell you to fill it with old newspaper or magazine pages, and honestly, that's a great idea for a lightweight form. However, if you want a form that's a little heftier, you could also try filling it with pillow stuffing like I did. Try not to overstuff the form though. If you put in pillow stuffing, it can get pretty tight in there and really full, and it can end up with things bursting, like this. It's kind of an uncomfortable sight when it bursts because that's your body, and now it's exploding. I don't love it. It's a little uncomfortable to watch your own body burst open, you know? I don't think that's a thing people should see. Don't try to make arms based on your own arms for your dress form. Sure, this one looks like it worked out. This one, as you saw earlier, maybe less so. It's kind of a rough deal because, you know, you can't leave the arms on because it'll make it almost impossible to actually put together clothes. It's really hard to adhere the arms to the dress form even if you use the toughest of magnets because, as you can see, it's not really working here. And it is an absolute nightmare to wrap plastic wrap and then duct tape around your arms and then get it off in any way that doesn't end in horrible injury and definitely blood. Lots of blood. Way too much blood. I mean, sewing always has a lot of blood involved, but like, that was too much even for me. I will be making a follow-up video to show you how I finished these and cover them and figure out how to attach them to my dress forms. Not permanently, but in a way that I can take them on and off. I'm thinking maybe Velcro or a harness, probably a harness. So stay tuned. I will be doing something with these because I certainly went through a lot of blood, sweat, and tears for them. They will be useful. I'm not going to have suffered in vain. Do use old or unloved clothing to make the cover for your form. You know, if you're not about that duct tape look. My dress form cover that you can see here was made out of one of my dad's old shirts, and I think it adds a pretty nice vintage look to the whole thing. A lot of people make their dress form covers out of stretchy material, which can be a lot easier than a stiff material. Stiff sort of holds it all in a little bit better in my experience, but a stretchy material just goes right on over and you can sort of squeeze it and pin it to be accurate and sew it right on up. Stick it on. It's a very easy solution. For a really good video on how to make a stiff dress form cover, see Fully Dressed video that I have linked both above and in the description below. She also has a cool way to make a dress form that isn't out of duct tape, so you'll want to check that out too. Don't expect this to be the easier option. Cheaper? Yeah, probably. Easier? Absolutely not. It took me a full day to just get the duct tape part of the dress form done, and honestly about 6 months to get the whole thing done, but I did procrastinate a little bit there. Making the duct tape part of the dress form ended in a lot of tears, mostly for my mom who was helping me. It was a pretty tedious and nerve-wracking process. And duct tape doesn't move once you stick it on, so if you get it wrong, it's gonna stay that way. Plus, the whole process involves a ton of touching, so make sure you have someone that you really trust. And it can be kind of uncomfortable if you're not really familiar with the person who's helping you. And you can't do this alone. You've gotta have a partner. There's no possible way to reach everything and get everything nice and adhered to your body without someone else's help. Oh, and make sure the person you choose has a lot of patience. Since it takes several hours, it's gonna be sort of like a whole day or maybe a whole weekend project. I mean, you're definitely not gonna wear the duct tape for a whole weekend, but you know, maybe they wanna help you fill it too. Maybe. Do wear an old t-shirt or an old nightgown even to make the duct tape dress form. Wrapping yourself in plastic wrap is not a fun experience. It's sort of like, let me trap all of the heat completely around your body and have you stand still for several hours in that position. with the heat just building. Don't do this in the middle of summer either. Just don't. I wore an old t-shirt and we did end up cutting through a bit of the t-shirt, so just be aware. If you're gonna wear undergarments, make sure they're old too, or at least ones you don't care about. Trust me, having something underneath is a must. Don't add too much padding. I definitely did this one. Adding padding is a great idea because it will really smooth out the whole thing and make it look really nice, but it will also change the size of your dress form. Even if you try to make it a little bit smaller than yourself so you can add padding, it will make things not perfectly to size. I mean, honestly, nothing is ever going to be perfectly to size anyway. You'll probably stand a little bit off-centered when you're doing it, so you'll have to pad out the shoulders just to get it to look like a normal standing up dress form and not someone who's just leaning casually. I actually used an old bed cover, one of those sort of fluffy ones, and that worked out really well for my padding, but honestly, to pad or not to pad is definitely a question you should ask yourself, because padding makes the pins a lot easier to stick in. They don't come out sticky, but it also, you know, fundamentally changes the size of your dress form a little bit. For me, it worked out okay because sometimes my weight fluctuates. We're all humans after all. But you don't want to go overboard with the padding. It can really affect the final product and make it into something that's not a representation of you. Try it for yourself. I know I gave you a lot of scary don'ts, but this whole experience ended up turning out really well. I'm really pleased with what I have here. I've already used her to make some capes and work on a dress, and I'm just super pumped that this worked out so well. And you know, it did save me a lot of money. I've got myself a dress form that I can use for many years to come, and she's me. She's perfect for me. I really hope that these tips can help you in some way. So what are your thoughts about the process? Would you ever make a duct tape dress form for yourself? Let me know down in the comments. And if you've already made one, I would love to know how it went. It's an interesting experience, and I think it'd be cool to hear about other people's process. Also, if you enjoyed this video, I would really love it if you would add a like, subscribe, and ring the bell with all notifications on for more videos like this about sewing and thrifting, growing plants, and saving things, all with a witchy spin. I will be back next Thursday with a brand new video, so see you soon. And remember, my celestial friends, save whatever sewing and crafting materials you can find around your house. Be kind to yourself and to the universe, and try to add a little bit of magic wherever possible to your corner of the world. Bye. No, there's hair on it. Ah, and fuzz from my cape. No, 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 get off, get off, get off. I hope... Whack. Hey, you. Oh, why must you disappoint me here? Why?